Dear students and dear friends, Assalamualaikum. Today in this lecture we are going to learn about a major topic of financial accounting, which is ledger control accounts. We will learn how to prepare sale ledger control accounts and purchase ledger control accounts. Today it is very important lectures. I am sure that if you will take this lecture with your full concentrations, you will never do mistakes in the preparations of ledger control accounts, sale ledger control accounts and purchase ledger control accounts. So let's start it. First of all, we understand some key points about the preparations of sale ledger control account. First point is that we record the opening balance of sale ledger control accounts onto the debit side. Okay. And second point is that we record the closing balance of sale ledger control accounts to the credit side. The next point is that in sale ledger control accounts, all those transactions due to which our trade receivables accounts will be increased, we record them onto the debit side of sale ledger control accounts. The next step is that in sale ledger control accounts, all those transactions due to which our trade receivable accounts will be decreased, we record them onto the credit side of sale ledger control accounts. The next important point is that those balance of trade receivable accounts which is satisfied against balance of trade payables called contra account, where we record it in sale ledger control accounts, we will record the contra balance on to the credit side. Okay, if we have given contra asset accounts, we will record them onto the credit side in sale ledger control accounts. The next step and last point is that we record closing balance of sale ledger control accounts onto the credit side. Okay, if we have given that the closing balance of sale ledger control accounts, we record them onto the credit side. Always remember these points. You will easily prepare the sale ledger control accounts. Within the few seconds, we will understand some key points about the purchase ledger control accounts. Okay. First point is that we record the opening balance of purchase ledger control accounts onto the credit side. If we have given the opening balance of purchase ledger control accounts, we record them onto the credit side. The next point is that we record the closing balance of purchase ledger control accounts onto the debit side. Okay, opening balance we record on credit sides and closing balance we record onto the debit side. The next point is that in purchase ledger control accounts, all those transactions due to which our trade payables account will be increased, we record them onto the credit side of the purchase ledger control accounts. Okay. And the next point is that in purchase ledger control accounts, all those transactions due to which our trade payables accounts will be decreased, we will record them onto the debit side of purchase ledger control accounts. And the next important point is that those balance of trade payables which is satisfied against balance of trade receivables called contra balance. Next important point is that in purchase ledger control accounts we will record contra balance onto the debit side. As you see that in the previous slides, in sale ledger control accounts we will record contra assets onto the credit side, but in the preparations of purchase ledger control accounts, we will record contra balance onto the debit side. By using these concepts, we prepare the purchase ledger control accounts and sale ledger control accounts. So let's start it. First of all, we read all the questions and then prepare the sale ledger control accounts and purchase ledger control accounts. The following data relates to purchase and sales transactions of Al Maroof, a Honey Private Limited for year ended December 31st, 2014. First transaction is that sale ledger balance January 1st, 2014. Debit balance is given. Debit balance given is 52,120. Dear friends, here clearly mentioned debit and credit balance of sale ledger control accounts and purchase ledger control accounts. But sometimes in many questions it is not mentioned clearly what is the debit and credit balance. So it is your information that always remember sale ledger control accounts opening balance we mention onto the debit side and The opening balance of purchase ledger control accounts always we mentioned onto the credit side. Here as you see that the opening balance of sale ledger control accounts debit is 52,120. Here we mention it 52,120, and the credit balance of sale ledger control account is 3,000. Here we mention 3,000. And the third transaction is that purchase ledger balance January 1st 2014 debit balance is 1650. So we go and mention in purchase ledger control account debit opening balance 1650, and the credit balance of purchase ledger control account is 35,250. 35,250. After that, all transactions are given below, which is presented in 2014. The first transaction is that payment to trade payables. As you know, dear students, we clearly understand in the previous slides all those transactions due to which our payables account will be decreased. We record them onto the debit side in purchase ledger control accounts. So we go and record it onto the debit side in purchase ledger control accounts. Here we mentioned it paid to the payables amount is 2,85,000. The next transaction is that check from trade receivables. Check received from trade receivables. As you know that we clearly understand in the previous slides about the sale ledger control accounts, we understand all those transactions due to which our trade receivables accounts will be decreased. We record them onto the credit side in sale ledger control accounts. So we go on to the credit side of the sale ledger control account and record it. The amount is that 3,02,000. The next transaction is purchase on credit. Dear students, we clearly understand that those transactions are due to which our payables increase. We record them onto the credit side in purchase ledger control accounts. So when we purchase on credit, our payables will be increased. So we record them onto the credit side in purchase ledger control accounts. The amount is 2,82,500. And the next transaction is a sale on credit due to which our trade receivables would be increased. So all those transactions due to which our receivables will be increased, we record them onto the debit side in sale ledger control accounts. So we go on to the debit side of sale ledger control accounts and record it. The amount is 3,27,500. 3,27,000. And the next transaction is bad debts written off. We understand the meaning of bad debts from an example. For example, our credit customers purchase us from goods and services, but within the period of time, within a specific period of time, do not pay us. So we record them in the bad debts account. Due to the bad debts transactions, our receivables accounts will be decreased. So all those transactions due to which our receivables accounts will be decreased, we record them onto the credit side in sale ledger control accounts. So we go on the credit side in the sale ledger control accounts and record them. The amount is 1,500. The next transaction is discount allowed. What is the effect of discount allowed on our receivables accounts? When we discount allowed to our credit customers, so our receivables accounts will be decreased due to the discount allowed. So we will record it onto the credit side in sale ledger control accounts. So we go on the credit side in sale ledger control accounts and record it 13,000 rupees. After that, the next transaction is discount received. What is the effect of these transactions on our payables accounts? For example, when we purchase a bulk quantity of goods and services from our suppliers and discount received, so due to which our payables amount will be decreased. So those transactions due to which our payables account will be decreased, we record them onto the debit side in purchase ledger control. So we go on the debit side in purchase ledger control accounts and record it 8,000 rupees. The next transaction is return inward. Sale returns and return inwards are the same thing. Somewhere, sometimes in many questions, a word is used sale return. Both words are have the same meaning, sale return or return inwards. So what is the effect of these transactions on our receivables account? For example, a credit customer purchases from the goods and services, and due to any effects, any reason, they return us some goods and services. so due to which our receivable account will be decreased. So all those transactions due to which our receivable account will be decreased, we record them onto the credit side in say ledger control accounts. So we go on the credit side in say ledger control accounts and record it. The amount is 9,000 rupees. The next transaction is return outward. Purchases return and return outward have the same meaning. In some questions, purchases return word used on return outward place. So what is the effect of return outward transactions? Dear friends, for example, we purchase a bulk quantity from our suppliers. Due to any reason and any fact, we return some goods and services to our supplier. So what is the effect of these transactions? Due to which our payables account will be decreased. So all those transactions due to which our payable account decrease, we record them onto the debit side in purchase ledger control account. So we go on to the debit side in purchase ledger control accounts and record it by the 6,000 rupees. And after that, the next transaction is sale ledger credit balance at December 31st, 2014. Here the closing balance of sale ledger control account mentioned. Always remember that the closing balance of sale ledger control accounts record on to the credit side. Okay, we will go on the credit side in sale ledger control accounts and record it by 1250. After that, the next transaction purchases ledger debit balance at December 31st, 2014 is 2560. Here clearly closing balance mentioned of the purchase ledger control accounts. So remember, so always remember that the closing balance of purchases control accounts we will record on debit side. Okay. So we go on to the debit side and record the closing balance of purchase ledger control account is 2560. After that, one more transaction is available. We read clearly and record it according to the constructions. During the year, debit balance in the sale ledger control amounting to 3500 were transferred to the purchase ledger. Here clearly defined that the sale ledger amounting 3500 were transferred to the purchase ledger. Here the contra balance of a trade receivable account. We go in the sale ledger control accounts and record it on the credit side in sale ledger control account. Here we record it by 3500 rupees. Dear friends and students, all those transactions we have done and posted in the sale ledger control accounts and purchase ledger control account. So we put the slash in the blank matrix. Dear friends, if in this information the transaction of check dishonors is available, we record them on the debit side in say ledger control accounts and refund to customer. If the transaction of refund to customer is available, here we record them on the debit side in say ledger control. So after that, we calculate the totals for purchase ledger control accounts. So first of all, we calculate the total of credit side. First, we press the equal sum and open the small bracket and select all values of credit side and close the bracket and press enter. We calculate the total of credit side is 3,17,750. Dear students, as you know that when we prepare the ledger control accounts, any ledger accounts, so the greater side written down on the both sides. So we record it on both sides, 3,17,750. After that, we calculate the balance carry down. How we can find the balance carry down? We add all these values of debit side and after that we deduct from the total value and balance carry down find out. So we find out the balance carry down for purchase ledger control account is 14,540. Dear students, here the contra balance of purchase ledger control account is not available, so here we put the slash. So dear friends and dear students, in this way we can easily prepare the sale ledger control accounts and purchase ledger control account. Dear friends, if you have any questions and any confusions about these lectures, you can ask us through the comment section on the YouTube. Dear students, I will upload these slides on the community tab on the YouTube. You can see that and clear your concepts. Dear students, I am humbly requested to you, please like, share and subscribe. Dear students, take care. Allah Hafiz.